2025. This is a work session of the School Board of Schools Board Trustee of School City of East Chicago, and the time is now 6:07. The place is Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This is also being shown via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is the meeting of the board, the school board, in public for the purpose of conducting the schools corporation's business, and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Trustee Gomez. Present. Trustee Smith.
Present.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Present.
Trustee Taylor.
Present.
Madam President Gibson King.
Present. First on the agenda is the Partner for Education in East Chicago. Yes.
I am Pastor T. Brian Hill, president of the Twin City Ministry Alliance here in East Chicago. I'm joined here today by Deacon George Weems with the Foundations of East Chicago, Dr. Gillespie with the Twin City Ministry Alliance also, and I believe Dr. Edward Williams from St. Catherine's will also be joining us here on today. I come before you to present unto you a project that I, and along with our community partners, along with the superintendent, has been working on, and I want to come present that project unto you. For about 8 months now, the Alliance have been working hard in trying to put together some groundwork to be able to put together a program that will address, or hope to address, engaging parents here in East Chicago in the education process of their children. We have done some of the preliminary work, like applying for a 501c3 designation on behalf of a partnership that would be called Partnering for Education in East Chicago. What this we have envisioned in this program is a whole community approach to addressing the most serious issue that faces School City, and that is, how do you engage parents in the education process? We are advocating for an entire community approach to this one issue. How do we engage parents in the process of education? We believe that if we bring the best that our community has to offer from every sector of the city and the state that exists, that this is an issue that we can address and hopefully change here in the city, an issue that is affecting not only East Chicago, but much of Northwest Indiana and different other parts of the city. Research has shown that a partnership between the superintendent, trustees, and parents will lead to a successful school system. But for decades now, many of our parents have been missing from this process, which has hampered our ability to be able to address many of the serious issues that you face. There are quite a few reasons why we're at the point that we're at. I think the main reason is that we've had 2 generations of children trying to raise children, and in many cases, they do not possess the knowledge to be able to raise their kids in a way that many of our parents did. And so with that being the case, we have to somehow get them, convince them, train them to engage in the process, because it is necessary for all of our kids. This is going to be a very difficult task, and I expect that it's going to be a task in which is bound to be expensive, time-consuming, hard, but I don't believe we have any other choice but to somehow engage them in the process of trying to train them to engage into education. How this is to be done, I believe, is by some kind of a community organizing effort, where we're actually going to have to send people into our communities to knock on doors and to get parents, meet them where they are, address their needs, and then get them into a training process that will allow us to be able to help them to understand the importance of education in the future of their children. It is going to be difficult, but I don't believe we have any other choice. But I believe that if we can bring the collective weight of all of the community, I mean from industry, business, faith community, academic community, state and local officials, we need to bring every asset we can to bring to bear on this one issue of engaging parents into this process. Dr. Bonet and Mr. Alvarez has been working with us to try to bring together some of these interests in the community to try to organize an effort. I believe that if we are determined and if we are willing to work hard, I think that it can be done. I know there's a lot of reasons to say this is too hard. I know there's a lot of reasons to say this is too expensive, but I don't think that we have another choice. I have been involved in community organizing efforts over the past couple of decades, and I'm here to tell you it is effective because these kinds of organizers are trained into being able to go to people's homes, meet them at their particular issue, and convince them to get involved. But it is painstaking. But I would encourage the board, I would encourage the superintendent that we should probably move as quickly as we can to try to get this process moving. I believe that it would be helpful not only to the city, but I believe that the education process is depending on us to do something. I also believe, as I talked with Dr. Bonet, and he brought up the issue concerning Parent University, which I thought this program would be able to be a great segue into an effort like Parent University, because we would have the ability to be able to actually go out, knock on doors, convince parents, and train them, and then have somewhere to send them for further training and further engagement. So I believe that if we were to take this program along with the vision of Dr. Bonet and his Parent University, I believe this could be a great, great partnership and a great way of being able to address probably one of the most serious issues that address School City. Because research have proven, unless we solve this issue, we will continue to have low performance here in this school system, in the ones here in Northwest Indiana, and in fact, all of the school cities that are facing this same type of issue. I know Joelle expressed to me at the last meeting I was at that many of people from different school cities were expressing their concern about this same issue. We have to do something, and I would propose to the board that this would be the way that we would probably address this particular issue. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the board? I got a few questions I'd like to ask here. What you said, Pastor Hill, is true, it's real. Is it something that we have needed for a long period, a long time? And I don't want to say sometimes things do get started and it falls short. And that is one of the biggest things. It never takes place, or it's just only talked about or not taken serious. But this is something that's serious that needs to happen in our school district. And I want to think that our board would like to be in agreement with this. I'm glad that you all are here speaking and willing to do something to help. That's what Parent University is all. The Parent University is about the parents. It's about them coming in, collaborating, workshops, things to put in place for them, resources that they need, and someone needs to come and help them learn with the tools that they need to help their children. That is one of the things that has really been lacking in our community. And as you all know, that the breakdown between the schools and the parents is really a broke down system, but I think that it can be fixed with the right tools, with the right things to be done to help that situation here at hand. So I know I heard you say you've been working with the superintendent, Dr. Bernay. We would like to continue. I don't want to see this be the last, we just talking. You know, we need to put some, we do have some things that's coming up, and we would like to have your involvement, those ones that's on your team, be involved in this, you know.
Amen. Well, you know, the faith community stands ready and willing. We know the issues that not only not being able to effectively educate children is causing the city, but it even filters down into our churches. Because when our children can't be gainfully employed, then we have issues also in our churches.
Yes.
In fact, I've asked for a whole community approach because everybody in the community is being affected by this.
Yes.
And so we need to bring all stakeholders to the table and let all the stakeholders come to bring whatever assets they may be able to bear upon this situation, let them bring it, and let us approach this thing as a community. This is going to be a heavy lift, and I believe it's so heavy, it would probably be impossible for School City by itself to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to take a whole community approach in order to be able to solve or to be able to improve this particular situation.
Well, this is just me. If I walked and knocked on doors to get elected, I can walk my district and put flyers in each one of the residents' doors, or just knock and tell them, please come to school. But I have been doing that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like you said, children are raising children, and they think that that's not important. But, and I'm trying to explain to them, this is your child's future.
Yeah.
And you need to be involved. And they really don't get it, but once they're educated, or you have to kind of go back, but then they didn't get it, so then the children don't get it. So I think one-on-one, and then spiritually, I know that the churches are not really full like they used to be. The children don't come to church anymore. You know, when we were growing up, they had children's Sunday school. We couldn't wait to get to church, you know, even if we just wanted just to be with our friends. But that was the only activity we had back then anyway. But I'm just saying, the church, the community, I don't mind walking, as long as I have somebody walking with me, other than God. I mean, I know he's good, but you know, let's be real. So whenever you want to, I don't have a problem with doing Lakeside.
Let me explain to you, though, what we're talking about when we talk about going door to door. We're advocating for a community organizing approach.
Okay,
Community organizers are trained in techniques and trained in ways to be able to engage parents.
okay.
They know that when they knock on that door, the needs of that parent is going to have to be met in order to free that parent up to be able to come and to be trained. And so we have to make available to them whatever issue that they have, we have to be able to address that issue. And community organizers know this, and they're trained to do this. And so they will invoke certain skill sets
Okay.
to be able to convince people to come and to become a part. I've seen it work. I've been trained in some of those techniques. I know they do have techniques that are effective in being able to accomplish what they're trying to do. But now I can tell you, community organizers, they are expensive and in high demand. You know, once we're able to get a group together, the group will have to determine how it might want to approach this issue. But you're going to need people who are trained specifically in the task of organizing to go out here to knock on doors. Now, you can bag them up, but these people will be able to use certain skill sets that most people do not possess. But I think that that is the way we'll have to go in order to be able to convince people to leave their homes and to come and to receive the kind of training that is necessary. That's the reason I say this effort will probably be expensive. It probably will. But I think that if we bring the people to the table that believe that this kind of an initiative is important, I am hoping and praying that God will make a way that they will come to the table, not only to sit here, but come to the table and say, how can I help? Because that is what we're going to need.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So what qualifies an individual to be a community organizer? How are they selected? What does that process look like?
Well, most community organizers, especially when you talk about senior organizers, those are generally individuals that have had a long history of organizing and have attended a great deal of training to get where they are. The approach that the committee, once we get it set up, will have to do, they'll have to choose between several different systems as to which kind of an organizing effort they may be willing to look at. There are organizations that can bring you a complete system and just bring it to the city and be able to address not only the African American community, but the Hispanic community also, because this is going to have to be a dual leg situation where you have both avenues working at the very same time. That's available, and there are people who do that and who are trained to do that. It's going to be expensive. And then there are organizations that does this nationwide. We could possibly look at one of them. And then there is also, I know at least a community organizer that has worked for many decades here around in the city that might be available to come in and actually train some people here in East Chicago to be able to do the door-to-door organizing, which may be a more reasonable approach. East Chicago is a unique kind of city. You don't understand the dynamics of it, don't understand how it works. That will make the effort a little bit more difficult for an organizer to come in or an organizing organization to come in. But that would be a decision that the board will make once it comes together and everybody is able to have their input as to what they think is the best way to go.
Okay. So do you have, I guess, does the project currently have, 'cause I do see you have outlined here that, we're targeting both Hispanic and African American. So do we have individuals right now that are working with you, putting this project together, representing the Hispanic community, or?
Right now, we're trying to organize a board together.
A board,
Now, I've been
okay.
working with the foundations. I've been working with Dr. Edward Williams. We've met several times with the superintendent. Our next step is to actually invite people from every sector of organizations around the city that we can.
Yeah.
From every corner that we can, to come to an organizing meeting and then to have an attempt to try to put together a governing board
Okay.
that will drive this effort.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking to do now.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the actual, it's so easy to come up here and come to the podium on a public meeting and say what we're doing, what we're not doing, how we're failing, but people come up with issues, but don't come up with solutions.
Amen.
So I appreciate, that you even, you all as a team take the time to come up with a solution. And as you're standing right there next to that screen, it literally says whatever it takes. So right next to you. So if it takes knocking on doors, then that's what you got to do. But that's key, right? Because we could sit here and wait for them to come to us.
They're not.
They're not going to come.
Amen.
And I just want to be clear about some things. It's not, and I've shared this personally about myself. It's not that a lot of them don't want to come. Yeah, I'm Hispanic, but my home is blended. It's a mixed cultured home in my home.
Right.
So I'm learning how the African American culture approaches or addresses education versus the Hispanic culture. And in my culture, it's not that they didn't want to or they didn't care, they didn't know how. They didn't have the training. They didn't have someone to come to, let me grab you by your hand and let's walk you through this because we are co-parenting, right, our children. You're at home and we're here at the school. So I really appreciate that, you know, you're stepping outside the box. And let's bring a solution and collaborate, so.
Well, I'm going to express that the Alliance is now over 2 decades in advocating and coming to the school boards and doing what we can to try to assist in the process of education. I've worked with many of the members on this board over the years on certain issues and certain things to try to improve education here in the city of East Chicago. And I know for a fact from my engagement of some of the serious issues that you're facing. And so we put a lot of thought in trying to come up with something that we really felt in our hearts would be helpful to our children. And we do believe that this is the approach that may be able to help us to move the needle as far as education goes.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Rodriguez.
Pastor Hill, this is an issue that we've had since day one.
Yeah.
In terms of getting parents not only engaged with their schools has always been an issue. But with this administration coming and what they've been doing,
Yes.
removing over $7 billion in our education fund and title, it seems like the only way they would pretty much be a part of something when they know dollars are coming out of their pockets or they're going to have to pay for things that they didn't have to pay for before. So this is the reality. This is what's coming. I think that what we try to do in our district is that we try to promote as much awareness as possible. We established a brochure that goes out on a quarterly basis to parents, to the community, to get them engaged with what the activities that we have, the sports, the drama, and our parent university. So we're thinking in the box, but we're also thinking outside the box. What I see in engaging with this nonprofit organization or any nonprofit organization is that you are the conduit to the light bulb, to us. And in order for the community to come together with this education component, it's a plus for us, because no matter what we try to do, however dollars that we try to spend, title money, whatever it's going to take to engage the community, it's not working. So we need to figure out an alternative ways and methods. And I sort of just kind of breezing through the proposal and just looking at some of the items that you mentioned. I tell you what, we have to take 10 steps back to go, let's forget about technology for a second. Let's forget about Facebook. Let's do the grassroots effort in order to engage with parents. And I think that's the part that I think we're missing. And hopefully you may be able to fill that gap to making that happen. So I appreciate you coming.
I think with the support of all of us, we have a great opportunity
Yes,
to really make a difference. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult.
Very hard.
But I don't think we got another choice. That's it.
So how often do you all meet with the superintendent and your people?
Well, we're currently in the organizing stages.
Oh, okay.
I think superintendent has already set up a meeting for us to come
Oh,
back together
okay.
to begin to set the process of trying to get as many stakeholders at the table as we can so that we can begin to establish a board. Once we have a board established,
Okay.
then the board will govern how or what direction we'll go with this community organizing effort.
Okay, that sounds good then. That's good.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate your time.
Unfortunately, I got to be leaving out of town shortly, and I'm going to have to leave
Oh, yeah,
immediately
that's
after
okay.
this
Did you have anything
presentation.
to say, Dr.
But I want to thank you so much for all of your
Appreciate your
interest and
time.
concern.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Pastor Hill, and our Partnering for Education Committee, Ms. Gillespie and Mr. Weems. Look forward to meeting with you soon. I believe Ms. Alvarez and Ms. Ryder are coordinating that meeting.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Reverend Hill, you've been on this board, you've been in the education, on the education board with the Ministerial Alliance for what, 25 years? Even, yeah, even before I got on the board, you was fighting for education.
Even before there was elected students, matter of fact, the application was elected students.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons that we ended up with elected students.
And Ms. Dr. McCullough? Yeah.
I believe that there's still great work to be done. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you both, all three. Mr. Weems, thank you.
so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks all for listening.
Would you please wear those too? When you come to the games, when you come to the activities. You're welcome.
Thank y'all for coming.
You
Okay.
didn't get Capitola,
Yes, I did. I told her it was from
and
you.
you give Ms. Weems
I
one?
told her it was from you.
You know, Miss Dr. McCollum, he's her husband is back.
Okay. Next, we have the Parent University. Mrs. Alvarez, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So how can I help you?
Well, yes, go ahead. Yeah, overview of it, Parent University.
Well, I have to be honest, I'm not the one who's steering this.
Okay, but you
Okay.
have done it in the past.
Right, that was,
So that's what we need to hear, what was going on in the past that's bringing it up to now.
okay, from the past, Mrs. Dalhoumi, which Luz was part of that group at that time, they held the Parent University. That was done through grants from the foundations, I believe, and donations. After that, then came along, when Mrs. Dalhoumi retired, Linda Randolph came in with innovations. And that was through donations also. And through donations, and at the same time, I helped her at one time, me and Fanny Bishop, at the time, we were working together.
Yes,
And, but all of our speakers were community people,
right,
so there was no charge.
right.
At that time, we used foundation's money for the breakfast. The last Parent University we had was in 2019,
Yes,
and that was just, actually, I have a report here. Luz, can you pass this out? So the income for 2019 was 500, and the expenses at the time, because I did this report for Dr. Bonet, the expenses was, the transportation was absorbed by the district. Our key speakers, again, no charge because they were community people.
yes,
Our class presenters, again, they're no charge because they were school city employees. So the total cost now for, that was the last one because then COVID hit.
yes.
So then for this year, the 2025 cost, when we were going to have it previously, main sporting goods, we bought T-shirts for 2,200. Again, plaques. For imprints, there was bags and other items that were ordered for the parents. The total's right there, and another, more stuff for imprints, $651. The speaker, well, to that time, the total cost for that is $6539.43. But that's not including the speaker. So I mean, this is the up-to-date from the very beginning when Mrs. Dalhumi was here before I started. I started here in 2009. Dalhumi was here, yeah, way before that. Maria Dalhumi, yeah.
Yeah.
The plaques that were ordered for Parent University that was canceled before, we gave those out because there was no Parent University. We gave them out at the board meeting to recognize the parents. So that's a rundown from before. Our speakers have been, like, we try and get our speakers from here, from the community. And we try and get one that will speak in Spanish at the same time, so that way they're able to communicate also with our Spanish families.
I know, go ahead, Mrs. Trustee Smith.
Madam President, thank you for letting me speak. So you're not with Parent University? You're not over the Parent University? So who's over the Parent University
Right
now?
now, Hope Stovall took over, and Emily Lopez is helping her out. I did a few stuff. I did get in contact with K-12 for the breakfast, which I have not heard a response yet. We did get 2 donations. The athletic department is going to donate some shirts. And then we got Harbor Barbers that are giving out some some coupons for haircuts.
Those are the vendors.
Right.
yeah.
I couldn't put nothing here because I've been working on the back-to-school rally.
Yeah.
And I wasn't informed that Parent University was going to be held in the same day. Because there was 2 instances where I confirmed with Dr. Bonet it was going to be in September. So my efforts were all on the back-to-school rally and the holiday dinner, because we did one letter to try and promote both events, because we're trying to do something different for the holiday dinner in December.
Oh, yeah, the
So all
holiday.
the efforts have been going towards that.
So, you know, that same day at Parent University, there's a whole lot of things going on. The back-to-school rally, the Cross.
Cross Church.
The Cross Church.
The Cross Church has their event from 10 o'clock in the morning, and normally, I think it ends at 1 o'clock. So
Okay.
normally they go there first, and then they head over here where we're at. But we're at the event, back to school rally. I'm there, Luce is there, the Sal's and the BFOCs, we're there about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock to
Oh,
set
yeah,
up.
Yeah.
And we already have parents lining up,
Right,
yeah,
because we're volunteers.
yeah.
We volunteered for how many
Yeah,
years?
we know the time.
So, and, you know, you was talking about the vendors, for so many years, I think you said Linda Randolph, right?
Linda Randolph,
Randolph was good with BP Amico, wasn't she?
I don't remember, but
It
Linda,
was one of those companies that she made sure that we had, they still,
oh, yeah.
but I remember she organized that, that,
When
partner, that
Dahomey
community
left,
partnership.
she took over, her and
Yes.
Rashada Moore Morris, which was Innovations, because actually I found an old flyer from back then.
Right.
And she helped out during that middle time.
So is Ms. Randolph still a part of, well, you wouldn't know because you're not in control of Parent University anymore, right? So I'm just saying this, whether they know it or not, Ms. Randolph's work speaks for herself. I know she's been involved in a whole lot of things going on in this community. And not only just with the Parent University, but also with the educators and the principals and the teachers, and even their days when she can't come in to do things. I'm not pushing her, but I'm just saying, these are the people that Parent University needs, because like you are the face of East Chicago, she's the face of East Chicago. Trustee Gomez is the face of East Chicago. He's been on the board for 45 years, so he's the face of East Chicago. Joelle's been on there for 22 years. I'm just saying, and we're newcomers, so we're still the face of East Chicago. And that's what make East Chicago so unique, because no matter what, when it comes time to for these children with parent universities, Ms. Daniels, I can't leave her out. When it comes to those, and to get these children involved, or these parents getting involved, you have to have the wherewithal to know how to reach them, like they were saying. And we've had a big turnout, a very big turnout for parent universities. It's just that it needs to be done right when school starts, because that's when you got your biggest crowd. And
the
that's when,
staff is-
and that's
staff
when
is
you can
willing,
get,
yeah.
because that's just to me. Because, I mean, the back to school rally, of course, you know, they're coming to get the,
The freebies.
I don't want to say, yeah, well, that, okay, that too.
The backpacks,
But,
the supplies.
but the first day of school, parents do bring from pre-K all the way up to maybe 12th grade to, to high school. They bring the kids to school because they have, they don't have the ID or whatever they need. So parent university, that would be a good time for parent to be engaged. I mean, that's when you should have all of your vendors. I mean, if you're gonna have,
We used to
people,
have it,
speakers, or your,
In the month of October, I think it was.
I'm sorry,
I think it was in the month of October, we would hit Parent University back then.
yeah.
Yeah, when school was in, like you said, almost at the beginning of the school year.
Right, it should be, yeah, because you really have the first week of, that first week of school is very, very important. So parents don't know which way to go, how to go, which way to, I don't have my child's birth certificate, whatever. So the parent university it could bring the parents back in if you had the right vendors there. I'm not talking about vendors, I'm just talking about the right people. Because now I'm faced with a situation where I don't know how to go get a birth certificate, or the children still get shots for school. Oh, okay, just let you know, my kid's 40, okay, so we don't, okay, anyway. So, they might not know that they could go to the East Chicago Health Department, and maybe East Chicago Health Department, because we are partners with them, that they could get free shots. Those are the people that should be involved in a parent university, especially the first week of school. The health department, the counselors, the teachers mainly, and what else they need to know? Medical.
We had the fire department people are there.
Right,
We have all of the people that are in our.
the police,
Yeah, the police are
teach your
there.
child how to dial 911
Right,
if the
we had
grandmother gets
Fire
sick.
truck come set up to, had the kids going in and out, showing about fire prevention. So we have our community is involved in the things that we do,
Right.
and they do come out. Not to cut you off, trustee
No,
Smith.
keep going. I'm
But
sorry.
now, I've never known the two, back to school and university together. I've never known that to happen. And it's always been separate. And one reason that I'm aware of that it always happens because we are volunteers on a parent university or the back to school.
And you see
one-
the work that's involved.
That's right. And it is a lot of work involved. And then there has never, and then our city is busy that day anyway. So this has never been. We've always had it, but we've never had it together. And then two, it's never been costly. And it's never been costly either. And it's always been a successful event that we do have. So it's not like, we're having something that we've never had before. We've always had this going on in our city of East Chicago. So, I thought that you were over it because, like we said, you're the face, the voice of East Chicago when it comes down to doing these and the people that you did name, Fannie Bishop, Mrs. What's her name?
Luce.
Yeah, they were all,
Yeah, your volunteers come
yeah,
out.
they come out, yeah, and the people that your staff, comes out and make this happen.
Also,
So there's been a lot of confusion in the community.
with this parent
with this
university
hand
and this.
And this. Ms. Taylor, you got anything to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was prepared to ask questions about the actual program as scheduled. So you're not able to address any of those questions?
That information was not shared with me, so I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Did have a meeting, but they were still discussing some of the topics. But I don't know exactly, because there's supposed to be something for EL, special ed. Mrs. Gutierrez is supposed to present something also, but I don't have the
Like an
classes.
agenda of
Right.
the outline of
Yes,
the
exactly,
program for
yes.
that day. That's what I was hoping
Yeah, but we
to
would
have
get.
today. Thank you. I guess this is it right here.
Okay, thank you.
And
For trustee.
you may not be able to answer this question. Maybe Dr. Bornay can. Do we know why it did not happen sooner, earlier in the year?
Why Parent University didn't take sooner?
Well,
I think-
yeah, when it was first brought up, and I believe was April? Was it April that it brought up?
I wasn't there, but from looking at the meeting, I think it was turned down because of the speaker being
Well,
too much.
yeah, I guess that's exactly my question, because Parent University wasn't on the agenda. It was the speaker for Parent University. So we turned down the speaker, which means Parent University could have kept going. So that was my question, and I don't know who to ask that to, but I'm just going to put it out there, because I was confused as to why it got canceled when we said no to the speaker.
Right.
And and it's because of the price tag that was on it. It's a heavy price tag. So I felt like Parent University should have kept going.
Yeah, I just got the email, and from right there, we took it off, and then we start notifying people that it was canceled.
Okay.
We knew it was going to come back again, but, it was
Okay.
canceled for that month.
Did you want to answer that, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So just a number of things, and once again, good evening, Board. So I believe Ms. Alvarez may have excused herself from some of the committee planning when we finalized the date because of the back-to-school rally. So it's not, in her defense, she might not have been included if she did attend meetings because she was working on back-to-school rally.
Can I, because I asked you on 2 occasions. On one of our meetings, social media, you informed our meeting it was going to be in September. I did an email for the district regarding the back-to-school rally for volunteers and for tables and all that. Then Ms. Stovall sent an email right away that it was September. I mean, the same day. And I asked you again, and you said it was September. And then Jeremy, at the day of the last, the strategic plan meeting, Jeremy was kind of confused because he was approached regarding the flyer. So we had the meeting the next day, and that's when it was mentioned to me, it was going to be the same day.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So since we finalized the August 2nd date, to address Trustee Taylor's question, the speaker was an integral part of the Parent University. So as part of the superintendent performance goals, one of the sub-goals was to have a plan for Parent University. Part of that is the superintendent's vision for what Parent University was going to be. Ms. Alvarez was involved. However, I have a vision for Parent University. It's because this isn't my first Parent University either. And part of me being hired was to elevate the experience. So I did get feedback from. I've never had a Parent University and there was not a keynote speaker, whether you paid for them or not, whether it was a community agent, a community member or not. The purpose from my Parent University experiences was to have a big draw speaker. Mr. Bryan from Intervisions is a national speaker and a national parent group speaker. If he wasn't available, I would have gotten some other person. He was available. Mr. Bryant volunteered to have translators because our staff did not want to serve in that role that day, which is fine. But I want us to be clear that our sales and our staff who typically translate for parents did not want to participate in that way. So he provides the translators.
Can I rebut on that one? I'm sorry. It's not that they didn't want to, being that it was, I think it was a situation of how the Spanish-speaking parents were going to be located. They were going to be put in a separate room. I even said I didn't think that was a good idea. And they all were very upset.
That's right.
And some
And
of the
when-
committee members were also upset.
Ms. Alvarez, and then when we had that feedback, we changed that. But our staff still did not want to translate.
I don't think it was they didn't want to translate, because they were going to be inside the classrooms. And it's better when you have the speaker bring his own translation, because if you have someone else translating, you lose the connection. And he is very vibrant and very, energy-wise. His translator, his employee, would know how to, how his stuff goes and so forth. And coming in from another person, it's not going to translate the same way or come out the same way.
Have we ever considered translator devices? I've gone to conferences where you have folks sitting in the back, they have a device, and it's just real time.
Mrs. Medina has some, yeah.
We also did entertain a vendor who had translation devices shortly before the end of the school year that we were going to pilot and purchase for a number of parent meetings.
Excuse me, those, I own a business, and I have translators have to come in, and there's a cost for that. Trustee Taylor, there's a company that you have to contract with, and the translator comes in, but we're talking $250 an hour. That's what I pay for a translator to come in to translate a 2-hour service.
No, yeah, I know it's costly. That's why I was asking about the devices.
Yeah, but, okay, so, how can I say this? Just say it. Okay, you have Parent University on the same day, if you have Parent University on the same day that you have the back-to-school rally, and parent and teachers and things, they're still on vacation, and until they have to come back. So if you had the Parent University at another time, was you already have volunteers for the back-to-school?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so now, they need volunteers or whatever to help them with this university. And translators or people that speak bilingual, both English and Spanish, they're on vacation, and that's a cost. They're not coming out here for free. They're not coming out here for free because they're off. Now, they'll come and help you with the with the back-to-school rally, because that's what they're doing. That's what they're used to doing. But you have a lot of volunteers. So mainly your volunteers will be at the back-to-school rally, because that's what East Chicago does. Dr. Bournier, no disrespect. I understand. I get what you saying. I'm not knocking your vision. I never knock anybody's vision or whatever. But this is a very, very different, unique community. I'm not saying that they're not good for change. It's just that you have to do it in a slow, you have to bring something to the table in order for them to understand that change is taking place. And when change is taking place, yeah, you're gonna have some kicking and fighting. I'm one of them. I kick and fight because I don't like change, but it's inevitable. And with this Parent University, I see your vision. I'm not gonna knock you on that. I just think that the timing is just not right. And I'm thinking that the speaker that you want, will he be able to, or can he attract people at 8:30 in the morning? Now, I see you have, first of all, I'm gonna say this. You're not over the Parent University, right? This is your idea though, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so why the person that's over the Parent University is not here?
I believe it's because of the short notice given by the board, and specifically the board president, to have a meeting on Parent University this evening. I'm sure that those staff members had more advance notice and were alerted, they could have made different schedules.
But you had no plans, Ms. Alvarez, you were here.
The superintendent
Yeah, I
sent an
understand,
email,
but
and
you're
he
here.
said to be here, and I'm
Yes,
here.
I understand that, so you was here because your boss told you to be here.
Yes, mhm.
And I think that could have happened with the rest of the people.
Not if they already had
If-
other
Because
events.
I actually was gonna, was
If
gonna
we-
take a vacation day today, but
I
I
understand, I
had to
understand
switch
you
it
make,
over.
yeah, right. So
You
this
make
is-
adjustments.
That's right, this is something that, it needs to be addressed, because like our community has really got a lot of questions that how is this gonna, you know, they want to participate. They've never had questions such as what we're experiencing with the two,
With these two programs.
that's happening on the same day. And we've had them before, so that's no question. We're not questioning that. It's just how it is put together. And come to find out, I was under the impression that you were doing it because you've always done it. I didn't know.
No, Dr. Burnett did tell me about what he wanted to
So
do.
I could only ask for who I thought that was
And
gonna
I
be here.
started,
That's
but,
right, but since they knew
yeah.
who was in charge of it, looked like to me, they could have been here too, but.
President
that's-
Gibson King, you could have
Excuse me,
asked
excuse me, but
President
that's-
Gibson
excuse me,
King.
but that's here
You
nor
could have
there.
asked who was
I
in
say,
charge, and I
excuse me
want that
now.
person. You specifically
Excuse
asked Ms.
me.
Alvarez.
I got who I asked for, yes, and
Well,
because
then
you
if you
asked
only
of
wanted
me,
Ms. Alvarez, you only
you
want the same
asked of
information.
me to give you, Dr. Bonet, and I did give it to you. So that didn't mean that you didn't have to put no input in it, you didn't have to, you the superintendent, I'm the board member. But anyway, so, anybody else have any more?
Yeah, I had,
Okay, I'm
I had a
sorry,
couple more
Trustee Taylor.
questions I wanted to ask.
Please, go ahead.
I am confused
Yes.
on date and location. So where is back to school rally being held and what time?
Yes,
Back to school rally is at, I put down Kerry Gosh because of the construction that's taking place at Central. Tennis courts, HVAC system, and there's no AC over there.
Yes.
And there's possibly that the water might be shut off.
yes.
I had to move it for the safety because immunizations have to be inside.
Oh.
So we moved it to Kerry Gosh, but at the same time, I put the application for Todd Park. So we were approved for Todd Park, so now we're having it at Todd Park. But immunizations, I'm still waiting for the health department to get back with me if they still need to be in the inside. I know physicals have to be
They're
inside,
gonna have to.
yeah. So even though it's a little walk, but it's just,
So, okay,
Right
because
there
I'm,
next door.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah, because
And
you're.
it's
there's a
not-
lot of, so I'm looking at these two flyers, one's in Spanish and one's in English. So Parent University in Spanish says we're having this event at Central High School. Parent University in English says we're having it at Kerry Gosh.
Yes,
that was the original location.
right, and it don't have nothing on here about Todd Park.
No, because we weren't, at the time, we had to, they had to put the billboards up and the flyers out, because we have to start putting it out in the community. So we put Kerry Gosh, even though we might have to change it to Todd Park, it's right there side by side, so we're not gonna have a problem.
So everything's gonna be where? At
Todd
Central?
Park.
Todd-
Wait, Todd Park will be the
Back to school rally.
Like I said, I just found out
And Parent University is supposed to be at Central.
Yeah,
Which is no
So
air.
Parent University is supposed to be at Central. It's over at what time?
11:30.
11:30, and then we start back to school rally
at 12.
at 12, okay. Do we have the enrollment numbers back from when we thought we were gonna do the Parent University? And do we know what they are now?
She didn't know.
I wasn't given access to that information.
Dr. Bonet?
I
do you
did
have
ask for that information to have, I felt as phase coordinator, which I handle family and community engagement, I should be able to have that information, but I was
Don't.
denied.
We'll follow up with the current registration numbers for Perry University and the pre-registration numbers.
So, Dr. Bonet, I'm not asking you, Miss, okay, so I'm gonna say this, so there's no, air at Central
That's how come we had to move our stuff, because
to,
there's
to
no
Tye
air.
Park?
Yes.
Okay, so now, Tye Park, that night, they're having,
It's Fusic Fest.
is it Tye Park or Washington Park? It's a concert.
It's Fusic Fest, but they're at the marina.
Okay, so now, we got all these things going on. Do you honestly think, Dr. Bournier, somebody gonna get up at 8:30 in the morning and they're gonna go get free haircuts, they're gonna go get free lunches, free book bags and all the school supplies that their children need? Sometimes some organizations give out uniforms or whatever. Saturday morning at 8:30. A Saturday morning at 8:30 for a parent university is just, maybe where you come from, they get up at 8:30, but no, on a Saturday, your numbers might say one thing, but I know our community, and 8:30 a.m. in the morning to hear a keynote speaker, unless his name happened to be Chance, the rapper or somebody, they'll get up, but they have no idea who you are inviting. I'm not knocking your speaker, but, okay, and then, I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. I mean, we already approved the parent university, but I don't really believe that with the time and everything here, I really don't think that the person or whomever is on this committee really know this community and know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. So, yeah, they come out to games, but, not that early in the morning. Not at 8:30 in the morning, not on a Saturday.
I'm sorry, I
Now,
thought Ms. Alvarez said they start lining up at 7:30.
I'm not knocking it, but I don't get up at 8:30 on Saturday mornings unless I have some business. And I'm not knocking your university, parent university, but I'm gonna put it like this. Had you all sat down and talked to the board, the parent university committee, and the back to school committee, and the board with the superintendent involved, it could have been a heck of a project together. Not separate, together. Did anybody ever think about that? May I ask? Did anybody ever think about a parent university? Then maybe your speaker could have spoke, because now you got the parents, now you got all these people here. They'll stop and listen to them. They'll stand there or sit there and listen to them. But if you want something to be successful, I would have had both my committees together, and we could have had this thing together at one time, and it could have been one big festival. It could have been one big festivity. Then all these different T-shirts didn't have to be bought $3,000 or $4,000 for this, that, and the other. It could have used this money.
These dollars.
For the parent, for the speaker, you could have had a slip and slide. I'm just saying, bouncy houses, things to make kids.
That's not
They don't have
allowable
enough
grant expense.
activities. I'm sorry.
Bouncy houses aren't allowable grant expenses.
Well, they could have whatever. But I'm just saying, you could have had entertainment. You could have had things if we had come down to the table. See, and I'm speaking, that's what makes this community so unique. We are together, but we're not together. And we have not been together for a long time. And all this is doing right now, in my heart, is actually separating us again. We don't need separation anymore. We need to come together as one. One big celebration could have been the talk of the town, just like the alumni. I'm just using that as an example. It could have really been something really, really fantastic, and they would have been looking forward to that the next year. And then you wouldn't have had to, okay, so all the extra custodians, all the extra tables. Who's gonna be moving tables from Tide Park from Central to Tide Park?
I barely have enough tables.
I
for
know
the
that.
back-to-school round.
We know
I
that.
run out.
I know
Yeah.
that. I know that. So now, in food vendors, they're gonna fix breakfast, and then what, they're gonna roll their carts down to Tide Park?
So those were, again, I was hoping that those who really knew this program were here, because those are the logistic questions I wanted to ask. What was that going to look? Because, Dr. Barnett, I am all for a new experience. We need it. I'm all for it. And this event has the potential to be valuable for our families. I just fear that the logistics of it, I fear that the timing of it, and I think there's been so much confusion on the location and the way the communication has gone out. I know, and we try to put it out there, but that's why I was confused. I saw different locations, and I'm understanding what's going on in these locations. I know Kerry Gosh is built for little people. So how we're gonna put adults in there to have an adult environment? It's not gonna, I don't, it's not gonna be conducive if I was a parent.
And
I know
there's no AC
Central, we
there
have,
either.
you know, we have the issues with the HVAC and things of that nature. So, I'm all for that. And I don't want to get into, okay, tell you how to do this. My concern is the price tag. That price tag is pretty hefty.
I don't even see the parent involvement in this at all. I don't see it. Where's the parent involvement at?
So to address one of the questions, Trustee Taylor, we've been working with the construction team at Central, and they've identified the exits and the classrooms where parents will be able to access restrooms and obviously projects that have been included with HVAC, which is the only reason why we were able to identify a space at at the Central for Parent University. We've been talking with K-12 by Elliott, the food service. They are capable of having food at both the Parent University as well as at the back-to-school rally. They have that capacity. That issue is not a concern. The other issue around tables, the Parent University is an indoor event, so it eliminates or reduces the table issue. Whereas originally, where we're going to have vendors on the original Parent University, well, those vendors are all the same vendors at Back to School Rally. So Parent University can wholly focus on the breakout sessions.
One final question. I know you want to jump in. It's my last question. Back in, I think, May, you sent us an update regarding Parent University, and it was stated that the parents were going to be being surveyed about additional topics. Did we get those results, or did we get that done, and what did the results show?
Yes, so in the new registration link, there is a QR code that takes parents to additional topics that they want to have, and I believe one member of the team, Ms. Lopez, is gathering all that information.
Yeah, Madam President,
Yes, go ahead, trustee Rodriguez.
I guess my concern at this point is just a general oversight and governance of Parent University. Who are the key decision makers, that oversees the strategic decisions on Parent University? Dr. Bornay?
So the committee makes recommendations to the senior leadership team. The senior leadership team is myself, Dr. Yanders, and Ms. Simmons.
Okay. So, and were those individuals requested to be here as well today to discuss the Parent University, or?
No, the only individual requested was Ms. Alvarez.
Okay.
I invited Ms. Perez, and Ms. Lopez and Ms. Stovall were not available.
I think another concern that I have when it comes to Parent University and this particular title grant is the leadership team that ensures, the transparency and accountability with Hispanics in the community.
Yes.
I don't see too much of that effort being placed, given that this particular title grant does affect ensuring that we have more Hispanic representation or parents involved.
I don't see no parent involvement. I just see folks coming.
Okay, I'm going back to, when you first brought this Parent University on the, agenda. Didn't you say that this was coming out of a grant?
$9,000 grant.
Okay, so we have to pick up the rest of this, right?
Yes, the rest of the cost comes out of operations.
Okay, so we're taking, we're taking this amount of money out of operations. Okay, now, even though that's 4 categories, one is 2,000, well, we have that printout. Okay, And then you want a speaker, which totals what, to $15,024.43. And this money is coming out of operations, and you know, well, I guess you don't know, but this money coming out of operations should be for operations, not for the parent university. Operations is maintenance. Am I correct? I don't know what operations pay for.
Operations pays for everything that education fund can't pay for. Education fund only pays for teacher salaries.
Okay,
Everything
I
else
know
is
what
operations.
education fund pays for, but I'm saying operations, doesn't that pay utilities and light and all of
And
those things?
athletics,
Okay, I get that. So,
and transportation, and buses.
but, okay, so we have to pick up the rest of that if we have the speaker.
I want to know what was $9,000 grant, what was that grant for? What was that for? What was that?
That is Title I.
Mm-hmm.
There's a requirement to spend a portion of title funds on parent engagement activities.
A portion. So where the other portion was going to?
We've probably spent it on other community engagement activities already.
Well, Ms. Alvarez, since you have nothing really to do with this, if you're tired, you
We
can have a
appreciate your
seat.
time. Okay, we just now found out that you did not. That's why I asked for you to come in here. I asked for you, because I know who've been doing it in our community for years.
Well, that's
Yeah.
part of my job,
Yeah,
family
that's what
community
we
engagement.
know.
So,
Go ahead, Ms. Gomez.
Before you leave, Ms. Alvarez, thank you for coming tonight. I'm curious, what has been the, I know it looks like the last one was 2019, but what would you say is the average amount, the turnout that you would get for participation in the parent university?
that year, I had to go back and total,
Uh-huh.
and it was like close to 200, 100 and some people. Previously to that one, we did have a huge one, as you could remember, and that was with Mr. Gillis.
Yeah.
That was a big, I mean, the whole thing was jam-packed.
Yeah.
But it was like 100 and some total. I can't remember what the Comer was, because that information, like I said, it wasn't when I was there, but I have the information because they gave me the box for Parent University, and it's
Okay.
packed up.
Yeah.
I could try and get that information to see if there's sign-in sheets in there from that year.
In your
But I
opinion?
think basically, our parent universities don't total over 200 people, probably, yeah.
In your opinion, and I'm sorry, this is just your opinion, or if you don't want to say that's okay, is a goal of 500 people realistic?
Like I said, the way our families don't even come out to school right now, and it's the summertime. But they do have, what I do know, they do have each principal trying to get 75 families from every building.
Yeah.
So, and that's how they could reach their goal.
Yeah, that's why I asked, thank you. You mentioned something earlier, it's kind of not related, but you did say that the Cross Church is having something that day?
Yes,
What is that?
The Cross Church is on the same day, which I'm trying to get more information from them, because I haven't seen anything.
Uh-huh.
But they always have their, we used to talk to each other. When are you having it? So they would have it a week later.
Got it.
COVID hit, I skipped one, and they took over. So now they kept that date, but they do it in the morning at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And they get done about 1. So those people come over there. So there's, like I said, normally starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I remember last year, we had a number of discussions after all the back-to-school rallies were held. Dr. Bornay, I remember I'd asked you, and you may have even mentioned this to the board as a whole at the time when Mr. Artiga was still here. You mentioned that you were going to try to get all all the back-to-school rallies combined. Did you make any progress on that?
No, I did not pursue that. That wasn't a priority this year.
But that is what you told the board, correct?
Trustee Gomez.
That is what you told the board last year, correct?
Trustee Gomez, what is your question?
That's my question.
What was your question?
That you told the board you're going to try to bring together all the organizations.
Yes, I
Okay.
said that would be a great idea if we can get
Okay.
all the organizations to have one fest.
I just wanted to hear from you that you said that.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, I know it didn't. So
Perhaps you should have included that in your list of other people you wanted me to prioritize.
I have a number of questions that you don't seem to answer, so why would I bother?
No, it hasn't stopped you. Continue.
Madam President,
Yes.
Um,
Can we get back to the business of conducting our meeting?
I want to,
I do have one
I'm
more
not
question,
done with my questioning yet. You also mentioned, Dr. Bornay, last year that, in the conversation with the board, that as we talked about the back-to-school rally and the importance of engaging the entire community, how the challenges existed between getting people from one side of the community to the other. And I bring this up again because this was a golden opportunity to actually move it to the harbor side of town, where to my knowledge, since I've been here, it's never been held. Was that a point of discussion for this year?
Can I answer that?
Sure.
When I first started, that's when we started with the back-to-school rally. We were trying to do a parade and so forth, but it was, the whole thing was under construction. For the first 3 years, we did have it at Washington Park. The last year, it rained. It started to drizzle, it started to rain, and it started to thunder. And that's when the superintendent said we had to cut it. So we passed out all the backpacks. At that time, the lunches were just sack lunches, so we passed everything out. We packed everything up, took everything back to the building, and as soon as we got home, the sun came out. And people are calling, where are you all? The superintendent called it off. So that's when we had to move it to Central. I do understand what you're saying because it's not the middle for both sides.
Right.
But over there, the Kerry Gosh is closest for a kitchen. Because now we got K-12, or it was Sudesco, now they do our lunches more, hot. So I think I would love to have it back here. We did have a long time for them to give us approval for Todd Park, being that Fusic Fest is going on. And I told them, well, that's 2 different locations. It talked about security. Well, we got our own security, garbage cans. We could do all that on our own. We just got approval maybe like 2 weeks ago. Just like 2 weeks ago. And that was with the help of someone that helped us to get that moving. But that was an idea, but the thing is that if it rains, where do we go, run into?
I was suggesting, Ms. Alvarez, great question. I was suggesting the use of block in Washington as an option and having the rally at the football.
That was an idea also.
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
But then we got to be careful with the turf over there,
With what?
turf
Okay.
on the track.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because my idea would be there, put maybe the tables around the track or something, but we have to be careful with the turf.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I got one more question. So you're ready to have your back-to-school rally? You set up your team is ready.
Yeah, so that's what we've
Your
been
team.
doing, yeah.
So now the parent university, we don't know who they team is. Is y'all part of this? So they got another team. They got a team too.
Says there's a
She's a part of
committee
that.
on here.
It's a
No, I mean,
committee,
it's a team of people. You got people, you got hands-on. Do they have volunteer? Where's their team at? Who is their team? That's what I want to know.
Perrin University and Back to School Rally is all hands-on deck effort for the school city.
So you're gonna use the same team that,
There will be 2 teams working.
no, I am not.
yeah, because at the back-to-school
Is
rally,
it gonna be your team that's
we're-
gonna be doing this too?
we're
So
going
this
to
is
be
a
at
separate team.
the park from 7:30.
We'll
trying
have
to
it
set up.
staffed. I will direct staff
We
to
don't see none of
participate.
that on here. We just asking because it's not.
Because that's probably more in the day-to-day and the logistics that is out of the balcony view of the board.
So,
But we will have staff ready for that.
We have to set up everything to make sure that the tables are set up for the vendors, because they start coming in early to set up
To set
their
up.
stuff.
right, right,
It takes time because then we also don't have enough
We have
janitors,
volunteers.
maintenance to help out.
right,
We
So
always
basically, we're there lugging a lot of the stuff there too.
right.
And then the volunteers, which are the students, they come in
They
later.
come in, right.
Yeah.
I just have one more question and a
Go
statement,
ahead,
is that okay?
Trustee.
Um,
I'm sorry, Rodriguez, did you have?
oh, you
Yeah,
sure
but
did.
go ahead, I'll go right after you.
Go ahead.
Transportation, so what does that look like? Like,
So
who,
I did speak with Susie, and there's no problem.
but
with-
so is there like a bus schedule or is it picking up our kids? What is it used for?
There's gonna be, the buses will start running in the morning for Parent University, and then they'll run into the back-to-school rally. And then they got their time set where they'll be able to bring everybody back home. But I'm still waiting for Susie to give me the direct schedule. But
The
she,
pickup
there's gonna be like
points?
2 or 3 buses, I think she said.
Okay,
Who's paying for that?
all right.
That there was no problem on that part.
So my statement is, and again, it just comes with collaborating and even outside these walls. So I just went on the Cross website. Their event's going to be on the 2nd from 10 to 1.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know how we're going to compete with bouncy houses, Ferris wheels, rock climbing, and train rides.
And haircuts.
And they got
Oh,
all
we
that.
got haircuts too, we got immunizations,
I'm
and we got
just-
physicals.
I mean, I was there last year and they had some.
Baby,
I
they
I
were
thought I was a
there.
kid all over
They
again.
were-
I
they
would
even
love to
used
have
my
the
parking
rock
lot.
climbing wall, but I don't know because it might be.
No, it's a liability, absolutely. I wouldn't want to put us in a position where, I'm just saying that it's the summer, you know, kids are want to be, the parents are want to be somewhere where, hey, I could get what I need and whatever, and my kids could have fun while I'm doing what I'm doing here. So I'm just saying this is going to be a tough event to compete with, and it's disappointing because they do it every year at the, so it's not a surprise, it shouldn't be a surprise to us. We knew this was, we knew they were having it, right. Typically falls on, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you weren't told like specifically, but we all knew it was coming because it happens every year.
Every year, right.
Yeah, so,
We do have the funny people, the funny people are coming out, top 20s performing. We have a 50-inch TV to raffle. We have a sound bar to raffle off. We have a tablet to raffle off.
yeah, and I'm just saying, like, the community already has it set, like, I'm gonna go to the Cross first, then I'm gonna go to the Central, then I'm going to the Music Fest, like, they already have their day set. So I-
And Leon Kendrick.
That's my-
Their
yeah.
organization's also having something that day.
And that's where
Just
my
saw that.
hesitation is with this, where I'm conflicted, because there's a high price tag on it, and I'm not sure it's gonna be effective on that day. That's just my reality, that's what I fear.
I have to agree with you on that. Just, it's not, no. The Cross, like you said, that's right down the street from me. We go to the Cross. They're gonna go get their free haircut. They're gonna have bouncy houses there, and actually
We
it's
got free
next to.
haircuts too.
Huh?
We got free haircuts too.
Okay, so you were blessed because the majority of, because I know this for a fact because my barber is doing the Cross
Crosses.
in the morning
That's right.
and doing you in the afternoon.
Yes.
So, yeah, so
I was
those, that-
fortunate with the new barbers that opened up on Chicago Avenue,
yeah,
so they're gonna come in. Yeah.
right. But all the barbers in Chicago are gonna be busy that day.
Yeah.
They're gonna, and they're doing this as a volunteer. So their parents are not gonna get up at 8:30 to go get no haircut. Cause you know how in Chicago, now you know how we do.
Well, we say 12 to 4, but we never go till 12 to 4 until supplies last. We finish about 2:30, 3 o'clock because the vendors bring, as you've seen, all
Yeah.
the supplies and they run out because they don't expect that amount of people and they're surprised because our numbers are, we start out at 500 and we've gone up to 2,000.
I know last year we had a lot of
We
kids.
had 1,500, I think
Yeah.
15 or 1,000 people we
Yeah,
had.
and it was raining, but they still
Oh,
came.
yeah, we stopped that, and they
Yeah.
sure did, because yes, it
Yeah.
did.
It was
did rain.
raining and they still,
Yes, it did.
and then it stopped raining. Then we had the dance and all of that. I already know what the
The layout.
back to school rally is. I've volunteered there many years.
Plus, these guys have 3 tables, I think, there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this parent university thing, I just wish someone had thought to have them both one big affair, which could have just, they could have went to the cross, they could have went to the cross and could have came to the parent university back to school rally and the parent university that was all combined together, which could have been an absolute blowout. By that time, they're up, they're moving around, they have energy. You know, and you're caught up in the moment. You're all excited because school is getting ready to happen. You got counselors there that can tell you what to do. You got the health department there. All of this could have been like Taste of Chicago. I'm just using that as an example because you got vendors. And I'm quite sure, Dr. Bournier, how many vendors do you have? Do they have?
For,
Parent University.
we're not using vendors because we want them to be at the
You
back
have
to school
one.
rally.
They got one vendor, who is
Yeah.
this?
She wanted, she had replied on the, when the announcement had gone out. And then I spoke to her, so she's gonna be at the back-to-school rally, but she still wants to be at the parent university.
Who was that you said?
She's with the insurance,
Oh,
Insurance.
I know you're talking about.
Ebony,
Yeah, Ebony, yeah, Ebony.
Lawrence, something
Yeah,
like
I know
that.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Madam
yeah.
President.
But that's your vendor. She's gonna just be back and forth over there.
She's gonna be at the back-to-school
Yeah, I know
rally,
what
but she also wants to
Yeah.
go to parent university, but I need to
Yes.
see what time she could
Yes.
set up over there.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Give me 1 second. So first of all, I think what Trustee Gomez mentioned, because we were walking at the prior opening over at Central High School when they had the back to school and we had all the vendors and all the schools there. And Trustee Gomez and I was saying, I mean, why can't we just bring everything together? Because I believe the city was doing something. I believe the Cross was doing something. I think there was another event that was going on as well.
St. Stan's
So,
and-
St.
yeah.
Stan's.
Yeah,
And
you got
so,
St. Pat-
so we always thought, why can't we bring them all together? We have MOU with the city. I don't know if anybody even approached, I know the mayor would love to come in and to engage with our community, with, you know.
Vanessa, when she was on the board, she did bring it up, that we, that
And,
the,
and part of our strategic plan too was we had the pastor here from the Cross.
yeah.
And that would have, that would have been a good opportunity to also engage with him as well, as far as, just to create that, sort of that community synergy, and something like what Mr. Hill was talking about today. How do we get parents involved, and we got to bring these stakeholders together to make it happen. But my question is a little bit about the parent university, but can you tell me and the board, your role in community engagement and how you contributed to the development and support of Parent University?
The parent university, I go out and look for our speakers, look for the classes, talk to the people, talk to the vendors. Then I get together with Jeremy, make the flyer, and then me and my team, we go to every place in East Chicago and put flyers out. The robocalls, as you know, I blast them out, and you'll probably be hearing them every other day or every day, and then the billboards. But my job, since, like you said, family and community engagement, I reach out to community people to help us out with, even if they could hold a class, and then try and bring our parents in.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sylvia. We not-
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ms. Alvarez, I'm sorry, is this your document?
Is that the one with the money?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one with the money on it.
With the 6,000. 6,000 compared to 15,000.
I'm curious, there's a line here that caught my attention. It's under the 2025 cost. The items were originally scheduled to be picked up by title. However, Ms. Stovall was later informed that they are not allowable under title guidelines. Ms. Stovall is in charge of title, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she didn't know this.
No, actually, I'll vouch for her because she was there. We were talking about, because I'll let you guys know, I don't have family engagement money.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so I don't know how I could work with parent engagement when I don't have that stuff, because I don't have that this year. But I was talking to Ms. Stovall regarding that, and she had, I think, Meg on the phone. She had somebody from the state, I believe, and she asked about this, and they told her they will cover it. Even though I know I'm not an expert like Luz, but I know there's certain things that title can't pick up. But if they said they are, okay, fine. So she told me I had so much money, which I wasn't given an amount, that I had to spend it. But then later, when we had ordered everything, title declined it. Yeah, but she was told yes, and then they said no.
I just would have thought somebody would know that if that's the job that they hold. So back to trustee Rodriguez and trustee Taylor's earlier comments. A lot of this would have been solved very easily with collaboration and communication, and it just seems like that's not what's happening. The board seems to be unified in its opinion of how this thing doesn't seem to work for the benefit of our children or our parents, who Dr. Reverend Hill just talked about engaging our parents. So it's a shame. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
That's it.
Any other questions for Ms. Alvarez?
Not for me.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Thank you, Ms. Perez.
Yeah, I figured it out. Bye, Ms. Perez. Have a nice evening.
Good night. Thank you.
Aren't they getting ready to eliminate exceptional learners? No, that's S and M, that's learning. What is Trump taking? Yeah, what is Trump taking away? Something. I can't remember.
Okay, you ready? I just want to mention before we forget the folder here that Dr. Renee gave us, with the exception of Sylvia Alvarez's letter. So I know I asked for some things today, right, Dr. Renee, from you? And there's nothing. I just want to mention there's nothing in here that I asked for. That's what I just want to clarify.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
It was sent during a weekly update.
Oh, I just, pardon?
It was sent during a weekly update.
that I asked for today? I don't have
You do
that.
have one document that you requested,
Which one is
that,
that?
that
Is
top
this?
document.
I didn't ask for this.
Yes, you did.
I asked for the, oh, this is her job, this job description? I asked for the job description.
I've already
because
given you
we
the job
already-
description.
We already have this.
You do not have that. You asked for a job description, which we've already shared with you.
But I needed to ask, again for it, if you didn't mind.
Okay, we will get you another copy. I wasn't clear that when you asked for the job description, because you asked for the promotion. So I didn't actually know what that meant.
Yeah, I just
So
wanna make
thank you
sure
for
that the
clarifying that you asked for the
document
job
that I have
description.
In here, I want to make sure that, what I asked for, it's not in here.
So when you asked for promotion, you were asking for the job description.
Oh, let me see here, Dr. Bonet. Okay. So. Okay, and the name of the employees, I don't have that applied for the position that's in our school district, I don't have that. And the people that applied outside of the district, I don't have that, okay? And,
Question for our legal team. So in terms of board requests for personnel matters, are boards able to ask for all the candidates who apply for a position?
There isn't any statute that particularly prohibits it. I think the context matters, so, because every situation might be different, but there isn't anything that precludes it.
thank you.
Now, obviously, in the process, there's some privacy concerns when it comes to applicants versus people who have already been hired and in the hiring process. So access to employee records is different than access to applicant records. Two different standards. So all those details matter, but to just answer the question in general, there isn't a statute that says school board members cannot have access to X, Y, and Z.
So I will be waiting on that.
And I'll add to that because I think the reason that that exists is because ultimately the issue of the personnel report comes before the board. So to ask certain questions regarding that process, I think is fair game. Obviously, you have to watch out for asking for so much information that you're actually part of the decision-making process of who gets hired. So I went on to explain all that to say that's what you are looking for. You don't want to go that far. But to ask for information in order for you to make a decision you're being asked to make is fair.
Thank you. And then,
And in your weekly update that I shared with you today,
I don't have the weekly.
it
update,
responded
because
to a
I'm
number
looking
of your
at lines in
questions.
paper. I don't have it.
you can get it from Ms. Wright.
I'm just saying, I'm just telling you what I don't have.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
you
just
know.
telling you what you were emailed.
Okay, but
That's not in
that's
the
not
folder.
the question that I was asking to you. I'm saying in this folder here. So I didn't ask about the weekly, I didn't ask you about that. Dr.
So the
Bonet.
purpose of you asking the question, President Gibson King, was for whatever reason or intent to say that you requested something and you didn't have it.
In this folder.
And in my midweek update, which I shared, which you don't have a hard copy of yet because you haven't checked your email, I responded to a number of those requests.
It's in the update
That was there today.
weekly email. Okay, so do you have that right now? You don't even have it, right? So it's just because I'm making sure that for all of us that has these folders, what's in here. You just give these folders to us. And, I might have been under the impression that what I asked for today was in here. That's why I'm specifying what I do have. I don't know what anybody else got, but I know what I have here. So, so I will be awaiting on those information. With everything else that I ask of you to provide, I would like to have that too. And then we will go into some further discussion on the legal side as to why the board needs this, Ms. Harris, okay? So now, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. Whenever you get time, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't hear. So now we'll go to the parent, principals, leadership coaches, okay? Okay. trying to get in there, Diane? Okay.
Dr. Bonet, I do have one question. I see this position of Ms.
Oh, we're not gonna discuss that. We're gonna just go to the next thing that's on here, the
What's the
parent
next thing?
leadership coaches. This is the next
Oh,
thing
okay.
on here.
I'm sorry, are there questions regarding principal leadership coaching?
Find my paper. Yeah, I'm trying to find my paper here. But let me ask you a question. I think we talked about this here. Let me see if I can find my paper. Anybody got any questions about this, parenting, principal leadership?
Did we figure out what funding is coming from? 'Cause I think I heard you say that you were trying to find it yesterday.
Yeah, so the principal leadership coaching will be funded through Title II. Title II is used for professional development of staff.
Here it is, right here. Okay.
And it was Title II for the 25-26 year, right? When are those funds released to us?
So those funds should be released soon. The pre-application was turned in June 30th. It's going to be an approval process at the state, and then once the state approves the pre-application, then they release the funds, unless there is some change, something gets denied or amended, et cetera. The Title II allocation, we do not expect to be significantly impacted by the $7 billion budget withholding. So and if it is, Title II is literally professional development, travel, registration fees, hotel, lodging, reimbursable expenses, et cetera. So we would reduce that spending in that area.
Were we able to round up any principals to kind of speak to it? And
We were looking to have some principals come and speak. They were not able to attend. We did notify them on Monday, but obviously their principals are on vacation since they don't come back to work till July 28th.
don't blame them, yeah, okay.
But all of them have already, as you say, chose the individual who they wanted to be their coach.
That is correct.
And then two here, I'm looking here where the price of this has changed again to $63,000 now. Every time we get something about these instructional coaches, the price always changes. Say something, trustee Taylor.
I'm saying, is that your document, or was there another document that was just shared with us?
No, I didn't
What this is
produce
what-
any other new documents, so it's
Okay.
the last document you had.
Okay,
Trustee Gibson King might be looking at an older document.
Well, this one here, I got $63,000. What was the first price? Just 40-some thousand,
Yeah,
right?
48
Did the
maybe.
math on it, and the math came to what, 58,000?
Then it went,
You
I
did it,
think,
right?
to 54, I can't
54.
remember, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing it 63,000. So you say this old?
No, that is the correct one, 63,000. I'm not sure if you recall having a conversation when we were having check-ins where you had expressed the fact that a principal had shared with you that they would like to have increased the in-person sessions. I don't know if you recall that conversation.
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you,
Oh,
President.
yes, no,
Okay.
no, I didn't say that, that nobody, no, that's the question that I asked you, that they would have liked to have had more hands-on than virtual. I didn't say that.
That's what I said.
Okay, yeah, but you made it sound like as if I had went and talked to this individual here. Okay, but that's what the question
How
is. yes.
else
So-
would
so
the
this is why-
information be
so
gathered
this is why it's been
if you
changed
hadn't talked to the person?
$63,000, is that the reason?
That
why?
is correct.
Oh, well.
Because they come in here in person.
Because they're coming in person, more, they're gonna do more in person than virtual.
They lucky to hope they come in, period. With Trump, with this new,
I'm trying to tell you that.
that's an awful lot of money.
Yes, it is, it is.
That's an awful lot of money. Right now, I could see if, I'm just gonna say it, I
Yes.
could see if this was last year or a year before, I mean, 2023, 24, with Dr. Bournier. I'm not,
See,
I am a budget person, but some of this is gonna have to be cut down, because we don't even know if we ain't even gonna get any money. As, and you've been reading the news, as of July, what was it, July 2nd or July 3rd, Joel?
all the places on
July
there.
4th.
Trustee Gomez, Rodriguez, was it July 2nd or July 3rd when the president,
Just
decided
just
to,
recently.
change everything that he said he was gonna wait till, what, 26, 27? And then all of a sudden, July 2nd, he flipped on us and said,
He removed $6.8 billion from title.
Community.
Yes. And that's something that I've been bringing up with you, Mr. Harris, as far as when we have these people that we have these contracts with, and so I was always saying there need to be some kind of stipulation in it, just in case if the money change. Remember I kept saying that? Yes. But ain't nobody been,
There is a stipulation.
speaking to that point.
I think they started incorporating that.
They have? Okay,
If they're grant-funded positions, it's listed on the job posting.
okay.
So, from the feedback from the board, I believe you want me to reduce the amount of the contract then for the principal leadership coaches.
I'm not even in favor of this thing from the get-go.
Me either.
When you have an organization, Sylvan Learning, Huntington Learning, an established organization who has provided documented service, I might be interested in looking at it in as much as I opposed Sylvan. At the end of the day, the board voted for it, and, as I mentioned yesterday, we wanted to see the exit report on the progress, if any, that was made there. These are organizations that are established, that have done work before, that have a proven track record. You're asking us to hire 8 individuals, is what you're asking for us to do. I'm not interested in hiring individuals. I want to see an organization with track record. Indiana Public Principal Leadership Institute has been around for a long time. They're here in the state. They offer services to principals. I'm interested in that. I'm not interested in this.
And we do have our strategic plan for 5 years, something that I know that we did need very, very bad, because we've not had a plan since, I don't know, 2019 or 2018 or what have you not, so.
2015.
Yeah, so that's been a long time for us not to have a plan, but we do have that in place. And I'm glad to have that, because that would be our roadmap for all the principals and teachers and what have you not. They should be able to execute that plan. The thing that not only myself, we keep on taking good money and putting it somewhere where we're not getting any return on it. We're not getting no return on these dollars here. These are our tax dollars, my tax dollars that go up what have you not. We're not getting a return on any of this, and one reason is because we keep on putting it somewhere where we're not, a individual that's been a principal for so many years. Well, what all is it gonna take? They are still going to paraprofessional. We just spent, what, 4,000 some odd dollars on one principal? Then there was another one we got in there for 3,000 some odd dollars. So it's something is not right with that picture. I'd rather see the district use these dollars. Now, if we had somebody new coming in here full of energy, want to do something, that makes sense to help them. But to keep on putting this money somewhere where nobody's been held, no accountability. Nobody has been held accountable for any of these things that we're speaking of as a board. Nobody has been. And we keep on doing the same thing over and over and over.
Thank you.
So, go ahead, trustee Smith.
Me being on the board just for 6 years, I'm not in agreement with that because I know that there's other entities out there, and it's not like your principals don't know. It's not like they don't know. I mean, we really haven't really hired any new principals.
That's right.
And prior to you, they were not getting it. Prior to the other ones, they weren't getting it. But they know how to get it. They know how, I'm not, what school was that with a B?
That was, well, that was blocked back in the day.
Back in the day, but I'm just saying,
And the district always was a D.
but I'm saying this. They're only gonna do what they wanna do, but they wanna use every excuse not to do it. It's not like we have brand-new principals at every school, and I could see if we had a brand-new principal in every school, or brand-new principals in at least 3 schools, I would say that they would need that training. But these are trailblazers, or whatever you wanna call them, and they know what to do. They actually know what to do. That's just like, even with that title money, I'm just bringing that up, with that title money, they used to write their own grants. Now they don't even
Ain't
do
nobody
that.
writing no grants.
They don't even write, the principals used to write their own grants. At one time, there was so much money flowing in from different grants, am I correct, Jesse, trustee Gomez and
Yep.
trustee Rodriguez? And now, all of a sudden, they're so lazy and lackadaisical, they're not even doing that. They're not even doing that. I think Ms. Perez is, who is the,
Yeah, Chris.
she's about the only one that has done it. But you know, after a while, and you can pop the whip and spend all this money, and they're still gonna do what they do, which is nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's not like they're new. It's not like they're all used to the new math. Now, who we should spend money is trying to get these parents to learn how to do the new math to help their kids and
Right.
how to read or something like that, but
And University could use those dollars to train our parents, hands-on, like what is the dollars is for parents.
Title II dollars can't be used for parents.
I'm just saying that some dollars, we do have some dollars that should have been used for dollars. It didn't have to be Title II,
not, I'm
you know, because there are some dollars there for our parents.
and they're gonna do all of these training virtual, and if they come in, it's another $10,000.
$3,000 or something like that. Yes.
I believe
So
it's,
who's gonna be watching them? I mean, if you're virtual, I mean, you know, Zoom, you're Zooming. So, no, no.
So is there any more questions from anybody on the board? Ms. Taylor, trustee Rodriguez? Okay.
No, Madam President, thank you.
No, I
Okay,
don't
then,
think so.
okay. Well, we can, yeah, we can sit down here and after, you know, when they want to leave, you know, you can leave. Okay.
Can I ask just a quick question?
Sure.
Just a scheduling question.
Yes.
Is the board still looking at holding a special meeting?
Yes, oh, yes, we are.
You want to talk about that?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we need to have a special meeting here so that we can go ahead on and improve the personnel report with the exception of that one item taken off.
And the superintendent's aware of the item that,
It needs to be removed?
yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Sure, okay, yes. So then we'll
As-
have, Go ahead, Dr. Bonet.
Has the board have a plan for when you're going to discuss that item? So an executive session is planned.
Well, we're gonna have that, exec session plan when we receive, well, we don't have to wait on the documents, but we would like to see that so we can compare some things when we do have our exec session, to ask questions based on that.
Madam President, do you know when that meeting's going to be held,
Which one?
the special meeting?
Well, we want to do it soon so we can get the.
You have to get it posted.
Yeah, we
If I
gotta-
could,
I know we preliminary talked about Monday
okay, because
possibly, but it wasn't set. It was just a conversation I had with the board.
I would just like
Yes.
to add those two policies that were on first readings, so we can get them out of the way.
Oh, you want to add something
Yeah.
to it? Oh,
The ones we already passed on first
okay, so
reading.
let me look at the calendar
And
here.
that's it,
Yeah,
Just
that's
those
it,
two.
Diane.
and nothing else.
No new ones.
Let me see.
I don't wanna have to drag your tire, no,
So today
nothing
is-
else.
I'm
today
sorry,
is-
trustee Gomez, can you repeat that about the policy?
Yeah, the two.
Yeah, I want to have a second reading on the two policies.
The second
approved
reading?
on first reading.
He's referring to the ones that were just on the agenda last.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So can we have it on the meeting on the 14th?
Half an hour only,
Yes, yeah,
no longer than a half an hour.
yes. We'll have it on the 14th, then, can we have that posted for the 14th for the special meeting then?
That's to do the personnel report only,
The personnel report and those two policies.
the second
You
reading
said
of
the
the
second
policy.
reading of the two, how many policies is it just?
Cheers,
I, I am actually not available on the 14th.
Oh, you're
So
not?
don't let me be a showstopper.
She's not available on the 14th. Well, can you Zoom? Can you Zoom, Mercedes? 'Cause
Madam
it's gonna be a-
President,
it's
do
gonna
do
be
we
a
want to
short-
adjourn the
it's gonna
meeting
be a
and then
short
discuss
meeting.
this? Because we're still
Well, I
being
think,
live.
I think the public meeting has to be addressed in.
Yeah, we
in-
need to
in-
announce it
In a
so
live
people
meeting,
know.
yeah. So the audience have an opportunity, the community can have an opportunity to come. But I did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I will be Zooming Monday, since I'll be in California for the CASB. So I'll try to make that meeting
Okay,
on
so we
Zoom.
got a quorum. We only gonna have three. It ain't like we having a school board meeting,
Right.
it's just a special meeting.
Just shut up.
We just trying to
Okay.
make sure the personnel report gets taken care of,
Okay.
you know. So we'll do it on the 14th. Can you Zoom?
No, I'm actually going to be.
Oh, that's right, you're gonna be gone. Oh.
She's going to another land.
I do want to say, I do appreciate the board having another meeting to make sure we approve the personnel report so that we don't lose teacher candidates because of the delay from last night's board meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I agree with that. I concur.
So it'll be on the 14th then,
14.
with those three items, right, Ms. Harris?
Two policies and a personnel report.
Right,
14, 6 o'clock here.
yes.
What's today?
Hi,
So if it-
Mercedes, what
oh,
you
yeah,
said?
we're good.
Just repeating what y'all said, two policies and a personnel.
Yeah, that, 14th, that's a Monday. So you're gonna zoom in, right? Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we're gonna adjourn, right? Yeah, I guess so.
I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I'll
hold
second
on.
that motion.
Okay, okay. Oh, roll call. Trustee.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. everybody
Yes.
got a Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Okay.